Thank you very much for joining us. We are underway. Everett and Chicoutimi. Semi-final. Kitchener awaits the winner. Here's Ueda. He'll play it up the far boards. That is broken up and knocked back down into neutral zone territory. Quick pass far side, and Bear will chip it in. Miettinen and Bear both get chased. Beckman comes out to play and moves it around. And that will take a Chicoutimi bounce, and they'll move it away through center. Schaefer drops it off. Now he'll go to the net. There's the trailer. Backhander wide. Blocker side will come all the way around, and Bear will clear it for the Silvertips. Working there with Van Honen, who's got 5 against the Silvertips. We'll see if Everett can dodge a penalty-killing bullet here in the early going. Off the draw, they'll clear the zone. Bullens, 40 points during the regular season. He'll take it in behind Beckman and now skated away. Drops it back. LeCompte right side, Lefebvre. He's been excellent so far in this tournament. Draft eligible prospect. Now he'll find it in the corner. Works down there with Schaefer. Back to Bullens. High slot. Return feed. One-timer. Blocked by Blueswick. Back up top to LeCompte again. They'll play it to Bullens. Bullens across. One-timer there. Bouncer. That'll end up in the corner. Blueswick couldn't come up with it. They'll throw it out front. Van Honen is there, and he's going to skate it away short-handed. Finds center and set at the top of your screen. Now he'll have the puck. Drops it back. This is the top line out here for the Silvertips. Liskey's going to chase. Bear is there as well. Lavoie will reverse it in behind the goal. Now they'll bring it back across, and Bullens will grab it. As Lavoie gives it to him, and Lavoie will move it out to Schaefer between his legs. Lefebvre drops it off to LeCompte. Broken up by DuPont. Couldn't clear the zone. Another crack at it here. Miettinen has it for the Silvertips. Feeds it ahead to Bear. Bear gets the blue line. Van Honen far side. Return feed. Bear. Wrist shot coming.
Physical ailment. It's on your brain to try and process things just a little faster on the ice.
Lozani throws it over to Rudig. He fell, and that'll be grabbed by Schaefer. Shot through. Miller pad on it. Knocks it into the corner. Rudig taken down. They'll play back to Bernier. Cross far side. Poulin sends one redirected just wide. Rudig was just getting up. He looks like he's hurt, and he's going to be hit again. Here's LeCompte. And Bear will grab it, and Rudig will slowly skate to the bench. Bear drops it off. Van Honen. Backhander off the bar. Short side. Would have been a beauty. Couldn't finish it. Miettinen drops it off. Whiskey and behind the goal has Bear in front. Finds the net off the post. And a beat ding the iron. Back-to-back bars for the Silvertips as they look to open up the scoring. Top line buzzing here for Everett. One-timer Whiskey draws the penalty. He'll stay out there on the power play as well. Does not have a point yet in the tournament after scoring 32 goals and having 65 points during the regular season. It'll be a big time to break through here. LeCompte, right side, Guite. Cuts it in at the point, drops it off to Massé. He's got Wong at the blue line, he'll use him. Now Guite, one-timer. And Miettinen down to a knee and bats it down the ice.
That's a on-purpose face-off going forward.
And Kaplan for the Silvertips. They'll sit in the box, and we'll get some 4-on-4. Miettinen loses his stick off the drop, picks it back up quickly. Lavoie, left side. Bullens drops it back to Lavoie. Van Honen watching him. Cuts to the high slot. Hesitation. Now a shot, and that goes off the post as well.
He's saying that's hit. They're saying that hit the bar, the inside bar.
Why, the way Van Honen reacted, he kind of looked like he stopped
That's
play.
in the net.
And it is a goal. The horn sounds.
Beautiful individual effort and an even better shot to finish things off. There's not much room, but right under the bar, and that is... LaChance's neck guard wasn't on properly, so they sent him off the ice. He's putting a new neck guard on right next to me.
And that's what you're between the benches, Frankie. Here's Massé. He's going to give it away. Bear will grab it. Van Honen's with him. Bear knocks it down into the corner. Van Honen down low. Bernier to the blue line. Not out. That's kept in. Great hustle by Bear. He's buzzing so far here in this one. Now along the boards. Van Honen and Miettinen out there with them. In behind the goal. Moulins moves it across to Vermette. Vermette misses Lecomte. And once again, Bear will keep it in. Miettinen gets chase. This time it bounces past the stick of Bushwick and down the ice.
Falls over, tells you how much he leaned into it to make it count.
Chicoutimi controls off the draw, and they'll play it in. Linda knocks it down into the corner. Vermette on it there. Bernier trying to keep it in at the blue line. Battling with Bear. That pass too hot to handle. All the way back out to Chicoutimi territory. Linda will give chase. Big hits down and behind the goal. Comes all the way back around. Awa gives it to LaChance. Traffic in front. That hit a stick. Van Honen, though, loses it. Linda, far side, just missed Wong. He's going to grab it and drop it back to Lebois. Now down and behind the net for Vermette. Vermette battling with Pisani. Good pressure here from the Saguenéens. Linda goes down. And Everett will clear. 25 seconds left to go in the period. Can't win the draw. Moulins along the boards. Van Honen took it away. Here's Van Honen. Waits. Has some time. Swings high with a shot. Beckman the save. Rebound there. And they'll knock it out to the neutral zone. Liskey. DuPont. Waits. Drops it off. Bouncing puck. That'll be cleared. And that will do there to start the period. And we are underway. Semi-final Friday here in Kelowna. Silvertips lead by 1, and that one
Punt is front and center.
drop it at center ice again. Now DuPont ahead to Bear. DuPont. Liskey straight away, just missed Miettinen, but he's on it. Put it towards the goal, broken up. And now in the corner, they'll move it ahead. Lefebvre. DuPont stands there and breaks it up. Chicoutimi will try the right side with Lecomte. Lefebvre in there as well. Liskey comes up with it. We'll go up the middle of the ice. Van Honen. Now DuPont following up. They're in and on side. He lunges ahead, goes down, and it's flipped back out to center.
Could have been a hand pass.
DuPont again in on the attack. Takes it wide. Throws it back to Miettinen. And he could not get a handle on it, and it'll be brought back. Going 3-on-2 as they work it over the blue line. Bushwick closes on the shots. And now he'll grab it and play it ahead. Van Honen to Miettinen, drops it to Bear, leaves it for Van Honen. Back down to Miettinen. Miettinen waits, still has it. No shot just yet, and eventually goes back to Chasko at the point. Miettinen, left side. This time he'll take it. That's blocked. Loose puck laying there. And eventually,
as Matthias had a few chances for Miettinen, who was an exceptional player this season, 76 points, and then it just takes one shot.
Off the face-off. Chicoutimi cleared. Berthelot. LaChance gives it to Lecomte. Lecomte dancing around. Drops it off to Ricard. Into the slot. Point blank. Fires it wide. Walker's side, and then he takes a penalty 200 feet from his own net. Stretch pass, a good one. It's Bear. Walking in. Carter Bear scores! On the far boards, and now it's played back out to the neutral zone for Lefebvre. Lefebvre in, drops it off to Gosselin. Gosselin protects the puck down into the corner, plays it back up top. Guite's shot hit a leg. Comes all the way around to Lecomte. Lecomte sends one on goal through the crease out the other side, and Gosselin set it. Was it down at his own blue line? Wong is going to wind it up. Skates it to center. Couldn't hammer it down. Here's Heslop. Heslop cuts to the middle. Heslop shot over the glove of the netminder and into the near corner.
Everett gets a bounce as that puck goes off the linesman, and Heslop's able to try his chance from distance on Beckman.
Wong forced back by DuPont. Now they'll give it to him again, and he'll try the other side. Lecomte got a stick on it. Schaefer gives chase. DuPont takes a quick peek over his shoulder. Heads into the corner. And will take it away. Long. Left side. Poulin sends one through. Miller got a blocker on it. And it's over top of the goal. Bounces down low. Dupont. That one bounced off the end boards right to Miettinen. Miettinen will give it to Bush. And they'll spend full time with those numbers.
Yeah, no kidding. He's got it figured out.
Back there on D now with Blueswick. And they'll play it past Chasko. Down the ice. Blueswick. Pressure coming. Puck bounces up high. And now control Van Honen. Has Bear to his right. Van Honen gets the zone. Blueswick's going to drive towards the net. And behind the goal, Bear will come up with it. Tried to find Miettinen, that was behind him, and now knocked out. There's Chasko, skates very well. Gets back there and makes the play. Van Honen winds it up again. Finds Miettinen. Van Honen will go to the net, tries to get it back to him, and he just couldn't get a good look at it. Now a bouncing puck controlled by Bear. He'll send it back in. Miettinen gives chase, comes all the way around, and Dupont will swoop back for the Silvertips. Against Chicoutimi in the tournament. Off the draw into the corner, back to the point. Blueswick couldn't get there in time, and it's all the way down the ice. Goaltender will come out, and Miller will leave it for Chasko. Wants to wind it up. Look at him go. Finds Bear. Bear gets the blue line. Miettinen drives from that. Bear's shot. Stop. Rebound there. And they'll whack away at it. Chicoutimi, though, will clear. Massé, quiet game thus far. Sends it down into the corner. Bear moves it ahead. Massé turns, fires. Pad save Miller, and Everett controls the rebound. Bear stripped from behind, and it'll be a top unit over the boards here for Steve Hamilton's group. Right back to Dupont. Throws it across. Shot in off the stick.
Tough for Chicoutimi to find any kind of prolonged offensive zone time or some quality chances. It almost feels like they're at the mercy of Everett's mistakes, if they make any at this point.
Yeah, just 3 shots in the period. Now Dupont drops it off. Bear tried to put it on goal. Back towards the blue line. They'll drop it back off. Dupont lets it slide down into the corner. Gould moves it back around. Hit an official. Miettinen will play back to Van Honen. Van Honen throws it to Dupont. Dupont waits. Now he'll take one. Hit a couple of sticks. Bounces just wide. Bernier with a chance to clear, but Van Honen keeps it alive. Another crack at it for Chicoutimi. This time they'll get the job done. Dupont skates it to center, sauces it back. Van Honen, Miettinen, chance. Back to Dupont. Across. Gould. Side of the goal. Van Honen. Dupont waits. Gives it to Chance. Miettinen in the high slot. Chance gives it back to Dupont at the blue line. Back down to Chance. Couldn't control it. And that'll be ripped around. Dupont keeps it in at the line. Great play at the point. Miettinen across to Gould. Gould. Miettinen, one-timer, broken stick. And Chicoutimi will clear.
4 points, like you mentioned, 2 goals. It's been a nice tournament for him. Willing to fight as well. Playing in a league that doesn't allow fighting. Something foreign for him.
4-on-4, turned over. Van Honen, not the guy that you want to give it away to. Finds Miettinen. Dupont up there with them as well. He'll drop it to Liskey. Liskey walks in. Leaves it for Van Honen. Finds some space with a shot and out there for Everett. And off the draw with Combs. Knocks it down the ice and heads straight off. Dupont will settle it down, and here he goes. Finds the zone, left side. Now leaves it for Van Honen. Back to Dupont. Dupont waits. Van Honen with Miettinen parked in front. One-timer, Dupont scores! That should do it! Dupont.
After drawing the penalty, he steps onto the ice for the power play. A little exchange with Van Honen, and then it's a 4-on-3, so there's way more space for Landon. Dupont makes Chicoutimi pay. You watch Beckman dealing with the screen of Miettinen initially, and then unable to regular season. That's what they look like.
We are underway in the third period. Everett's. They can close this thing out. They're off to a Memorial Cup final for the first time in franchise history. DuPont drops it off. Power play to start the period. That's up in the air, batted down. Miettinen will keep it in. He rips it around far side. Bear watching, and now Bear's going to take it to the point for DuPont. DuPont waits, gives it to Van Hanen. Van Hanen, Miettinen, back to Van Hanen on the left boards. Back up top to DuPont. Van Hanen waits, side of the goal. One-timer Miettinen, he scores! Off the snide! Monkey!
VP on the board and feeling good, and it's going to come on the power play. It's been a frustrating night for Miettinen, frustrating tournament. Watch as he pops into the bumper spot. A nice one-touch pass from Gould, and Miettinen takes the monkey off his back. The shot goes on the short side of the net, a fadeaway one-timer, and he's able to beat Lucas Beckman. And we're going to get a goaltending change for Chicoutimi, as that's off the post and in. And Miettinen, who's such an important player for this team, who really hasn't, he's a beast, he's a handful.
DuPont keeps it in at the right point, knocks it back down in behind the goal. Bertolo chips it into the corner. Ricard will give chase. DuPont. Whoops.
Every time he goes into the boards, you hold your breath.
Bounce back up there, made a play on the puck. And they'll eventually get it to Van Hanen.
One thing I think Chicoutimi didn't do enough in this game, and we've seen DuPont take some hits in this tournament, it wasn't overly physical with Chicoutimi on DuPont tonight.
There along the boards. Bernier will move it ahead. Ricard at center. Backhands one in. That's going to be 49, 10, 3, and 2. Here's Liskey. One-timer. Nice save. Van Hanen. Back pass Liskey. And to center. DuPont. Gives it to Liskey. Left side, Miettinen. That one bounced behind him. He'll have to clear. Ricard will move it ahead, and they'll send it down in behind Miller. Bear. Liskey. Van Hanen to Miettinen. They'll get the zone again. Here's Van Hanen. Far side for Bear. Knocks it in behind the goal. With a body settled down in the corner. Chicoutimi will clear it. Not for long, though. Van Hanen right back in on the attack. Tried to put it between the legs of Ricard, and that was broken up. And Chasko. Here's Lecomte. He's been one of the better Saguenéens in this event. Van Hanen will take it. Has Miettinen with him. Van Hanen waits. Bear follows up and fires it over the head of the goaltender and all the way down the ice. DuPont in behind his own goal. Quick feed over to Liskey. Liskey off the stick of Bush down the ice. Miettinen first on it. No work there against Gosselin in behind the goal. Comes out to Bear. That's off of a stick and wide. DuPont slides down. And in the corner, he'll go to work against Lavoie. Lavoie, the lone goal scorer for Chicoutimi in this one. Pisani walks in with a shot. Didn't look like a guy who's only scored one in his career. Good rush up the ice.
Only scored it in one of the biggest games so far.
Here's Lecomte. Shifty again. Throws it across. Story of the tournament there for Guite as he swings and misses. Now back the other way, Rudik. Knocked off his stick. Van Hanen between his legs. Circles back around. Good look to Miettinen. Miettinen walks in. Core got a shoulder on that. Miettinen will come up with it again. Finds some time and tries to flip it over the goaltender. Van Hanen lays it back. Rudik all the way around for Miettinen. Miettinen knocked off the puck. And Guite will at least get it out over the blue line. That top line, the goal. Bear gives chase. Van Hanen on the near boards. Couldn't sneak in there and grab it. Brought back the other way. Linda drives it wide. Bertolo comes in to help him. Miller watches on as they battle to his glove side left. He stopped 20 of 21. Now Miettinen gets the blue line. Was looking for Bear, who's the third man on that rush, but it's knocked away. Stretch pass. Bear has this one.
Seconds to go in this game.
And Everett will get a chance to avenge a